Hello and welcome to a brand new series I'm starting here on Blacksmith Gaming. In this series I wanted to go over Redstone in general. Just everything that I know from start to finish. Everything from the most basic of the basic all the way up to the most technical stuff that I know how to do and beyond. In the later parts of the series, I'm going to be learning along with you. I don't know everything there is to know about Redstone, not by a long shot. But I have figured out a lot of things through my time learning, and I think that I can make the process of learning and getting to the point where you can design your own contraptions start to finish just with everything that you know. So I'm going to start with basics like components, how they function, and how they can be used in conjunction with each other to make things happen. And in every video I want to show off exactly, or not exactly, just how you can use them in your own builds to create stuff and build upon the knowledge that you'll get from the very first video in this series to the last video. So I have found through my time learning Redstone Edition on Bedrock that there is not a ton of resources for learning how to figure out and get to the point where you're making stuff yourself. There's a lot of block by block tutorials, and I will be making some of those, but it won't be in this series. This series is purely to try and get people a solid understanding so that they themselves can be creative with Redstone in order to accomplish tasks or goals that they want to hit. So to do that, let's get started. Today I'm going to go over the most basic of the basic, which is just redstone dust and activation methods. So let's get into it. Redstone dust you can think of a lot like wiring in your electronics. It can be placed in a straight line, it could be placed around objects in the way, it could be placed in this netting sort of formation, which isn't super useful when you first start out, but some of the more advanced things that we will be learning, like item filtration or end gate, stuff like that, will use typically this net sort of arrangement. Redstone dust can be transmitted up a staircase of blocks or down a staircase of blocks. And the way you can tell that it's transmitting up or down is when you see a line of redstone going up the vertical face of the block. So if we were to make a staircase like this, as you can see, the redstone does not transmit up this block because since these are corner to corner, it cuts it off. One way we can get around this, however, is to use transparent blocks. And when I say transparent blocks, I don't just mean clear glass. Although glass is a transparent block, that isn't what Minecraft defines as a transparent block. Solid blocks are things that mobs can spawn on, so think like wood, cobblestone, grass blocks, anything that a chicken or a cow or a pig can spawn on. That's a solid block. As you build, you'll understand what is and what isn't solid, but until then, the best way that you can do this is to just go to the Minecraft wiki. Every block will say whether it's transparent or solid, and it's a good idea if you're going to build a farm or something like that to make sure you know what blocks aren't solid. I have made the mistake of designing an entire farm that took like 6 hours to build using transparent blocks. I am not a smart man. But I digress. So one thing you should be aware of is that flowing water, will destroy redstone dust. It will get rid of a lot of redstone components. So whenever you're making redstone that will use water in it somewhere, make sure you plug all the holes, because if you have a little spill, it can destroy hours of hard work in seconds. So that's something to be aware of. Lava can also function the same, but typically if you have lava running all over your contraptions, you've got more problems to deal with. So moving on from redstone dust, I'm going to go into activation methods. The simplest of the simple is a lever. A lever will result in an always on or always off state. That is compared to a button, where when you push a button, it results in what's called a pulsed output. It will stay on for some time and then shut off. Wooden buttons have a longer pulse duration than something like a stone button. So if you ever are making a door or something that requires you to activate it and have time to get through or to accomplish something else, you'll want to use a stone button or a wood button rather, because stone buttons have a shorter pulse. Another pulsed output is a pressure plate. A pressure plate can sense a player, as I just did, mobs like cows or zombies, anything, or entities like a thrown block or something like that. Another form of redstone activation is things like redstone blocks and torches. Redstone blocks are always powering whatever is touching them. So if you put a piston here or a comparator, anything, it will be powered by a redstone block. And there's no way to make a redstone block not be powered. This is in contrast to a torch, which, if you just place a torch down, it is in an always-on state. But when you power the torch, it will turn off. So this can be used for transmitting a signal upward, or if you want to have positive, negative sort of outputs, you can use torches to accomplish that. One thing to note about redstone dust is that by itself, it can only transmit a redstone signal 15 blocks. So you can see that that lamp didn't turn on, even though the redstone dust does connect to it. And that's because this line is 15 blocks long and then connecting to a redstone lamp. So if we go one block further, this isn't powered, and thus it can't power the lamp. So by itself, redstone dust can only go 15 blocks. You could use something like a repeater to extend that signal even further, but by itself, only 15 blocks. So the way that this torch works is that this block that the lever is on is actually powered when the torch is off. So the lever doesn't have to directly be connected to a lamp or connected to redstone connected to the lamp, because you can power whatever block the lever is on. So if I were to put a piston here or a comparator, it would do the same thing that a redstone block would do. This block is powered and is always on, and that's why the torch turns on. The other way you can do this is by running a redstone line into a block, which will then power this block and power whatever is touching it. It doesn't matter if it's here or here, underneath, it will always power that because the block itself is powered. One thing to note, however, is that if your redstone dust has a little ball at the end, like it's indicating a corner, it won't power that block anymore. The line has to be running directly into the block for it to power it. So this can be used in a rather neat way that we'll get into with this build. To demonstrate some of the things that we've learned today from redstone dust activation methods, I built this little starter home. It isn't much, but it's honest work. So here we can see a button powering this door. I opted to use a stone button, or a wooden button, not a stone button, because the wooden button allows me more time to get through the door. And because I'm on controller and have some difficulty moving around, if I were to use a stone button, I'd be in a lot more of a rush to get through there. So, another way that we can use what we've learned today is to create lighting systems. So, even though this lever is nowhere near the light source, I can turn it on or turn it off from this corner. So how this works is the lever is powering this wood block right here. And because this block is powered, the redstone dust can transmit that signal up this staircase. And as you can see, although these blocks are corner to corner, and this vertical line shouldn't be there because it should be interrupted by this corner to corner block, I've used a staircase here, and a staircase is seen as a transparent block, not a solid block. And that's why we are able to use this to climb past that corner to corner block. Then, just by connecting that redstone line to all these lamps, we can make a light that we can turn on and off. So although the things we've learned today aren't super technical or advanced, they can be used to make some cool things. You could make this lighting system where you walk in and you step on a pressure plate right here, for example, and it would turn your lights on, and then when you walk out, they would turn off. You can do all sorts of really funky stuff, but just with what we've learned today, we can already make a pretty neat little upgraded starter house, very simply. And I'm mainly doing this just to demonstrate to you that just because an idea is simple or a contraption doesn't require a lot of technical knowledge, it's still fun and useful and neat, and it's gonna impress whoever wants to come to your house and check out your build. Like, how cool would it be to have an interactive sort of home base where if somebody wants, they can come in, turn the lights on, you know, go through your stuff as they always do, steal all your wheat. Damn it, Grian. Although it's simple, it's fun, it's neat, and that's the goal that I want to achieve. It doesn't have to be the most complex redstone contraption out there to be fun and easy to use. So what I want you guys to know is to not be afraid. Don't be afraid to try stuff. Don't be afraid to have an idea in your head and think, how can I make that happen? And that's the point of this series. I want you to have an idea, and I want you to be able to, just using knowledge that you've acquired, make that idea happen. So although this stuff isn't necessarily useful by itself, with the information you've gained, you can make things. And I want you guys to learn, not just see how I've made this, not just see this house and go, okay, I'm going to build it block for block. I would really love for you guys to be able to understand the basics of how it's made and how that redstone signal travels, so that when you have an idea in your head, you don't have to look up a block for block tutorial. You can just mess around, try and figure it out. And that's how I've gotten this far in Redstone, is my idea, trying to understand how the components work and how I can make them work together to accomplish that idea. That's how the sign was made, and the cool little winky eyes. And as we go further in this series, you'll be amazed at how applicable these things are, how you can take these simple mechanics and turn them into a very complex contraption that you wouldn't have ever dreamed you could be able to make. When I first started Redstone, there's no way I would figure out how to make a this is technically a 3x3 piston door. It's an ethos door, but I wouldn't have thought that I could make that. But I've been learning Bedrock Edition Redstone for a little over a year now, and it's been really cool to see what all you can accomplish. So I'm hoping that with time you guys can figure out how to make stuff just for yourself, and I'll be here to help you guys out to learn how to get to that point. I'll still be making block by block tutorials and other, you know, just showing off fun contraptions that I've made, but it won't be on this world, and it won't be in this series. So thank you guys so much for watching. I know this video is a little dull, it's a little long, it's a little simple, but everybody needs. This is where I started. This is where I learned. And I feel that rather than having people need to figure out the basics, let's just go over them quickly. If you don't need this video, skip to the next. Maybe the next will have a bit of information that you didn't know. But it could still be good to watch this, because I will be going over some of the block mechanics that are lesser known. So with that being said, thank you guys for coming along on this journey with me. I really hope that you'll subscribe and stay tuned for more episodes, and we'll see where all life can go. I've been Kobe, thanks for watching, and I hope you guys have a great day.